Hello, my name is Shayna Bayo, and I will be talking about how to read and write from files, consoles, web pages, etc. First, I'll talk about how you can use similar code to read and write things in Java. In Java, there are several input-output classes that you can use to read and write things. One of those is the scanner class. With this class, you can read numeric and string types. We've already done this with keyboard input. For example, right here, I'm not actually using it. I just wanted to show how we can basically declare a scanner object and initialize with the standard input object like system in, like right here. You put system in the scanner constructor, and it can take different parameters like strings, input streams, and of course files. So for this example, we're going to be looking at how you can read a file using scanner. So I wrote a ReadFile method right here. And this ReadFile method always throws an exception, a file is not found exception. I just used the superclass IO exception instead. But you have to handle that exception normally, usually with the try catch method. First, when you do this, you would have to make sure to open your file first. You would declare a file equals new file. That's what I decided to call it. And then you would put the scanner object that you're initializing. You would declare and initialize that object, and it would take file as a constructor here. And then we would loop through the file to read each line. And for this one, I had just a simple one where I had a string, an integer, string. There's a weird thing that goes on with scanners where if you have an integer right after a string, it doesn't completely go to the next line. So you either have to consume that part and go to the next line, or you would just use the parse integer method, which would read the string, would read it as a string and then convert it to an integer. And then one of the things is that scanner implements the closable interface, so you need to remember that scanners need to be closed. I mean, they can automatically close, but it's better to do it yourself. So after that, I would like to also talk about, besides scanner, there's also things called like a buffered reader, which is useful. It's another way of reading data and reading files and stuff. When you buffer something, it basically is, it's converting bytes to characters, and by putting those bytes into memory first. And this way, instead of just reading everything from byte to byte, you would be reading a ton of bytes at once. And it makes the data transit more fast. Like, it makes it a lot faster and more efficient. So that's a really cool thing, I guess. But in general, a lot of people use scanner right now, or I don't know. So next I'm going to talk about print writers. So print writers does like almost the same thing, except it comes from a different class. First, I'm going to comment out this ReadFile method, and I'll uncomment out my WriteFile method, which basically, here it is right here. It also throws a file not found exception, so you need to make sure to put this here, handle it some kind of way. It also implements a closable interface, so you need to remember to close that. But same way, you would first open the file right here, and I named it WriteFile name. And then you would, similarly to the way you would do a scanner, you would declare and initialize a print writer object. But first, before that, you would create an object belonging to the file writer class, and then wrap the output stream in a print writer type object. So, which would be right here is how you would wrap that. There's a second way you could do it that's a little bit quicker and just in one step, and I'm not going to uncomment it, but it's basically doing exactly the same thing. It's just that you're taking the file as a parameter, which would automatically wrap the file in a file writer, if that makes any sense. So all these are examples that show their similar code, the way you're using it. So this is the way that you would read and write from a file or other things. Thank you and have a good day.